Greetings and welcome to Enigmatic. Hope everybody's doing well today. Let's have a little fallacy fun. Fallacy we're going to talk about today, not a whole lot, but is the anecdotal fallacy. I have an app on my phone called No Fallacy, and when you open the app, it says "Be less wrong," which is hilarious to me because it's like covering all of the logical bases about like whether we're right or wrong, and more often than not, we're probably like more wrong than right, so be less wrong. But unfortunately, I realized today that the app actually is no longer on the App Store. I realized this because it let me know that the functionality might be lacking because it's no longer in the App Store and shit like that. So, um, I'm recording on the phone that actually has the app, so I had to like take pictures of it with a different device in order to be able to read what it says. But it's just like a huge list of fallacies, and it gives examples of like instances in which the fallacy can be seen. And so I'm going to give you some of those based on this app as well. But again, this one's the anecdotal fallacy. So using a personal experience or an isolated example instead of sound reasoning or compelling evidence. And this is typically for things that are outside of the subjective scope. So when we want to say things about the world, but we're only using a personal experience or an isolated example instead of sound reasoning or compelling evidence. So the first example that it gives is Speaker A. I am giving up extreme sports now that I have children. I think I will take up golf. Speaker B. I wouldn't do that. Do you remember Charles? He was playing golf when he got hit by a golf cart, broke his leg, and fell over, giving himself a concussion. He was in a hospital for a week, and he still walks with a limp. I would stick to paragliding. Because obviously that person hasn't heard about anybody having a terrible accident from paragliding, even though I guarantee the by number, like the ratio for like the number of people that do an activity, there's more injuries in paragliding by number than there are in golfing. So then the other one, another example is riding a motorcycle is completely safe. My friend rides his motorcycle every day and has never been injured. That one actually has another fallacy in there, which is the I think it's called like wishful thinking. And it's like when, like in science, people are like, oh, we haven't discovered that yet. That's a fallacy. Like, don't assume that you will discover something. Like, like that's fucking sloppy. That's presupposing that something is already out there for you to discover it, which is not accepting reality on its terms, but trying to make reality fit your terms. Now for another example. Peanuts are toxic and should be avoided. My cousin died when she ate some. I have to laugh at these because they are fucking hilarious to me, but it's like also a coping mechanism because I chose that particular fallacy for a reason. I chose it because of what I feel from my anecdotal experience. Notice how I put that caveat in there. But there's a lot of ubiquity for this fallacy. And it's a very understandable approach that people have. Like we're very personal creatures, especially with ourselves most of the time. I say that because I'm trying to focus on being more personal with myself because I try to be so objective a lot of times. Anyway, um, and so we're going to go off of the information that is nearest to us, right? And the information that's nearest to us is the information that we get about ourselves, from ourselves, by ourselves, through our phenomenology and the subjectivity of our experience, right? Um, but as you can see, like with all of those examples, how they fall short and they're not actually accurate in any way whatsoever. We talked about with paragliding, you're more likely to get hurt paragliding than golfing. I almost guarantee it. I guess I could probably try to search it real quick. Let's see. Paragliding injury ratio. Actually, versus golf injury. Let's see if the AI will give me something. um, yeah. So it's funny because the way it's not giving me like a direct comparison, probably because it's really hard to be able to provide that. But one thing that it's sharing here is that paragliding injury rates, while paragliding is considered relatively safe activity when performed with professionals, injury rates are lower compared to other adventure sports. However, the injuries that do occur can be more serious, including fractures, especially in the lower extremities. And then golf injury rates. Golf is known for its low injury rate, with studies reporting 0.28 to 0.60 injuries per 1,000 hours played. Common injuries in golfers include those to the lower back, elbow, hand, and wrist. So it's like we can see why deciding to only go off of information that you're privy to is an issue. And the other thing about it too that I find in these examples is, there's a lack of consideration about like whys. So for example, peanuts are toxic and should be avoided. My cousin died when she ate some. And it's like, so one, the dose makes a toxin. Like you have to have a certain amount of something before it becomes toxic. So like when we say something is toxic, it means that at what we consider a small amount that it is toxic, right? But this person seems to not be considering the phenomenon of allergies. Like there's other things to be considered, and that's why in the definition of anecdotal fallacy it says, instead of sound reasoning or compelling evidence. And the other thing too about the anecdotal fallacy is that there's this subtle thread of confirmation bias that is inherent to it, because a lot of these examples, these hypothetical people in these examples, they already have like a stance, and they obviously don't want to move away from that stance at all. So that's why they're using these very isolated examples, um, and not doing the extra work to think, even further. But we do this all the time. Like, oh, I've never seen that before, so therefore, like, what? It doesn't fucking exist. It's like you're one person, you know. Just because you haven't come across something doesn't mean that it's new or that it's foreign or even that it's rare. It just means that you hadn't come across it until you came across it. Um, yeah, like I guess like one of my favorite ones is like, I've never seen that before. Like, okay, have you seen everything else? Like if you've seen every single other thing and like you haven't seen that before, then maybe I can give you some like, credence to like your attitude about it. But otherwise, like, keep your eyes open. You'll see new shit every day. Oh man. So yeah, just a little fallacy fun. Nice little short one. There's probably more I could add to, but I'm a little bit flustered because I have a metric shit ton of shit I want to get done today, but I'm trying to stay like really consistent with doing this. I'm like using this as an excuse to be consistent. That's what's funny about it. So yeah, when next time we want to have some fallacy fun, I'll pick another one off the list and we'll go down the line. And I might add some extra fun to this actually. One thing that I wanted to do, but I've never had the time to fucking do it, is I want to see if there is a corresponding fallacy for cognitive biases, both formal and informal. I might get into that at some point, the difference between formal and informal fallacies and like formal and informal logic. But um, yeah, the other thing that I wanted to say about the be less wrong, that the other thing that I appreciate that is that it shows that that logic is not absolute. And that's probably something I'll do a video on at some point too, like using logic to defy logic. And this is why talk about we just have floating castles in the sky when it comes to the ideas that we generate about the world. So anyway, be good to you, be good to others. Give me a like, subscribe, share to someone who wants to be educated. And yeah, have a great rest of your day. Talk to you soon. Peace.